Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I won't challenge you to a corridor race today, but good luck with your leg. I wrote to the Chancellor on the 8th of January with the support of 7,000 businesses, small businesses, not just pubs, but businesses from across the spectrum. Their concerns about not only the rate revaluations, the vicious tax rises that they've now had to suffer, but also the effect of the cost of the Workers' Rights Bill. When can the 7,001 of us expect a reply?
Mr. Speaker, I am regularly replying to letters and parliamentary questions from the honourable member and members on all sides of this House.
Shall the Chancellor smells dry?
Well, Mr. Speaker, could I begin by associating this side of the House with the Chancellor's comments about your leg? We wish it well, Mr. Chancellor. Mr. Speaker, we are waiting with interest to hear the details of the latest U-turn on business rates this afternoon. But if the briefing is to be believed, it will be far too little, too late. The Chancellor simply does not understand the desperate situation so many of our pubs are in. And what many pubs are asking is, why did the Chancellor choose to spend billions more on the benefits bill instead of providing proper, permanent business rate support?
Mr. Speaker, when the Right Honourable Gentleman was in government, 7,000 pubs closed under the previous government. We have permanently lowered the tax rate that retail, hospitality and leisure pay. And when I became Chancellor of the Exchequer, we faced a situation where all of the COVID support was going to disappear overnight. We've put £4.3 billion of taxpayers' money into supporting our retail and hospitality sector, including pubs. But we recognise the distinct problems that pubs face, which is why, unlike the previous Conservative government, we are setting out more support.
Mr. Speaker, they just don't get it. And of course, it's not just pubs, Mr. Speaker, it's the whole of the high street that is seeing massive increases, some of well over 100%. Shops, restaurants, hotels. Where is the help for them?
Mr. Speaker, some of the numbers that are bandied around by the Right Honourable Gentleman don't reflect the reality, because they don't reflect this transitional support, the £4.3 billion of support that we've put in to taper those increases in business rates. But I don't think anyone in this House seriously believes that temporary support during the pandemic should continue infinitely. It would not be the right thing, and it would not be affordable for other taxpayers to do that. That's why we are tapering gradually the support with a £4.3 billion support package in the budget and some more targeted support for pubs later today. But I would just remind the Honourable Gentleman that he could have taken action when he was in government. Instead, there was a cliff edge with no support for pubs or indeed any other sector of the economy.
Thank
you, Mr. Speaker. Persistently high inflation and fears that things will get tougher for their children are top issues for the British public. But the OBR's assessment of Labour's plans was, quote, growth in real household disposable income is projected to fall to around 0.25% per annum, well below the last decade's average. Minister, why is the sum of all this government's economic policies condemning the British public to such a despairing prospect?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. That is what is called leading with your chin. The MPs opposite were in power in the last Parliament, which saw living standards fall by 2.9%. They have already risen under this government by 1.5% because we are turning around their mess day after day after day.
Mr. Speaker, at the weekend, Storm Ingrid caused the seawall at Dawlish to collapse in 2 new places. We wait to see the damage caused by Storm Chandra today. Both are once again exposing the vulnerability of the main rail line to Devon and Cornwall, which is vital for the local economy. Given the reported lack of a Treasury emergency reserve, can the Chancellor guarantee contingency funding for any urgent and unplanned resilience work required and not covered by a fiscal event?
Well, I thank the Honourable Lady for raising the situation in her constituency. And of course, we work with all departments across government have had their budgets set to include contingency, to include known pressures. One of the ways in which we've managed the spending settlements differently from the previous government is that all individual departments must recognise the fact that unexpected pressures will come along. They need to prepare for them and make sure they have robust plans to respond when things occur.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. A new report by the Prosperity Institute is highly critical of the government's net zero policies and its adverse impact on the broader economy. My constituents' fuel bills continue to soar because of the government's reluctance to use more traditional sources of fuel. Will the Minister commit to raising this with the Energy Secretary because such ideological-driven policies are having an adverse impact on my constituents' bills?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Look, energy bills are too high because the Tory party left us dependent on the roller coaster of gas prices. Wholesale gas prices today remain more than double what they were at the start of 2020. If the party opposite think that is some kind of advert for staying on gas forever, they're living in cloud cuckoo land.
Well, go on there, Shadow Minister.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Now, we've already heard this morning that businesses are suffering hard from business rates going up and from national insurance contributions going up. But on top of that, according to the Office of National Statistics, the energy bills of non-energy intensive industries such as hospitality and retail have increased under this government by up to 10% in the last year. Now, on this side of the House, we're proposing our cheap power plan, and that would save energy bills on small businesses by up to £5,000 a year. What's the Minister doing to try to help small businesses with their energy bills?
What this government is doing is actually getting on with building the energy infrastructure this country needs. What this government is doing is not going back to the 11% inflation seen under the party opposite. And what this government is doing is supporting small businesses because he's absolutely right. The honourable member is absolutely right on one thing, which is high energy bills are not in the interests of British industry, and that is why we are getting on with fixing the energy system we inherited.
James Wilde, Shadow Minister.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. The Chancellor promised hospitality firms she would lower their taxes, but her business rate raid is hammering every town, village, city and high street. And this is not just an attack on pubs, it's hotels, cafes, music venues and many more that are being hit. It's 2 months since the budget caused huge worry for these businesses, and we await details of this latest U-turn. But the key question is, does the Chancellor get it? Does she get that it's not just pubs, it's hospitality, leisure and retail businesses that need support because of her terrible choices?
Mr. Speaker, members opposite do not get it, because when they were in government, they set out plans, Mr. Speaker, to remove the temporary pandemic rates relief overnight in 2025. That would have been an increase in business rate bills overnight for businesses on the high street of 300%. We have taken a different and fairer and more proportional approach, phasing out the pandemic relief over a slower time period and extending it into this year too.
Daisy Cooper, Liberal Democrat spokesperson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and wishing you a speedy recovery. We know that pubs have been badly hit by these business rates changes, but it's businesses right across retail, hospitality and leisure that have made investment decisions and hiring decisions based on the expectation raised by this government that they would get a full 20p discount on their business rate multiplier. Mr. Speaker, it is these businesses, music venues, restaurants, soft play centres, hotels that are the high street shops that communities most love. Do ministers accept that anything less than the full 20p discount for retail, hospitality and leisure will leave the 3 to 5 year business plans of these high street businesses in total disarray?
Mr. Speaker, we announced a 5p reduction in the multiplier on top of the 7p or thereabouts reduction that was taking place as a result of the revaluation more broadly. And, Mr. Speaker, that's a £900 million transfer of underlying rates liability away from the smallest high street businesses towards the online giants and the largest properties. When the Liberal Democrats had the chance, when the Conservatives had the chance, they kept the tax rates the same. We have introduced significant reform. We started the work of that reform at the budget, and of course we will continue conversations in the months ahead.
Cooper.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm afraid that businesses up and down the country know that the government raised their expectations and then dashed them. But this whole sorry saga has been an absolute shambles, and the question remains, why was it that ministers were so blindsided when the VOA has confirmed that they were providing data drops over a period of 12 months? Will ministers use the opportunity in 90 minutes or so to answer all of the questions that opposition MPs have asked to explain what they knew and when?
Yes, happily.